A very good morning to you. It is Wednesday, the middle of Holy Week, and we are in 1 Corinthians 8, which is quite a short chapter actually, only 13 verses. If you haven't read it, please do read it. And I think this was another thing the Corinthians had written to Paul about, asking whether it was right or not for them to eat meat that had been offered to idols. Now, we need to understand what was going on in Corinth to fully understand what Paul is saying here, because he's not talking about going into the temples and eating the food that is being offered. What he is dealing with is a situation where, unlike the Jewish system of offerings, which is described in Leviticus, where the food was given to the Levites to consume for their maintenance after some parts of some offerings were given to the Levites. In the pagan system that they had in Corinth, many animals were offered to the gods, but not all of the animal was used in the sacrifice, and what was left over, what was saleable, what was usable, was sold in the meat markets. And it was almost inevitable, almost impossible perhaps, to buy meat that had not been offered to an idol in one of the temples in Corinth. And there must have been a question written to him that said, is it right? Some of us feel it's wrong. This meat has been offered to an idol, and should we partake of it? They feel it's wrong. And others of us feel it's all right. And what Paul says quite clearly is, well, the idols are of no worth at all. They're not real. We know that. There's only one God. They're not real. So there's a sense in which it doesn't really matter. It doesn't harm us or make us any better, because those idols don't exist. But if members of the church do feel that it's the wrong thing to do and that they shouldn't do it, and they then see you doing it, and it distresses them, and it causes trouble and argument and spiritual distress for people and becomes a stumbling block for them, then don't eat the meat. It doesn't help them for you to sit there saying, yeah, but it's not, the idol's not real. You're immature, I'm mature, I can do that. I understand that they're not real, and I know that it doesn't matter whether I eat it or don't eat it. He says, at the end, he says, what we should, so in verse 11, so by your knowledge, this weak man is destroyed, this brother for whom Christ died. And there is a sense, too, in which what we do or don't do speaks volumes to those who aren't Christians. What we indulge in and how we behave speaks to those who are not yet Christians as well. And we need to not use our freedom to put a stumbling block in front of somebody else's life. And we may believe one thing about something and we're quite happy to pursue it, and someone else is very worried about it. Well, it's not our job to persuade them of what is right or wrong. It's our job not to put a stumbling block in front of them. He says, therefore, if food is the cause of my brother's falling, I'll never eat meat, lest I cause my brother to fall. He'd rather not do it at all than be the cause of making life difficult for another believer, or even, I think, for those outside the kingdom. So it gives us another reason to think about what we do and how we do it and why we do it. Why we do things. Why do we do certain things? Is it simply because we're free to do it and that we're no longer under law? You know, I don't know if we have much that compares to this in our modern world. We don't live in a world where there are offerings to idols. But we do live in a world where certain things go on a Sunday, for example. And there is a lot of dispute about Sundays. There are some people who feel that no shops should open on a Sunday. And there are others who feel Sunday's the same as any other day of the week, and we don't actually have to observe a day of the week and force it on others. And then there are others again who say, but if we do cry out for the sanctity of Sunday, it's a message to the world. There's lots of thinking goes on, but don't just think about what you do and how you do it. Pray about it, because it is the Holy Spirit who will tell us and guide us as to whether what we choose to do is all right with the Lord or not. It's not up to us to reason it out and to be rational. We need to lay it before the Lord. Whatever we're planning to do, lay it before the Lord. He is Lord of all, and every aspect of our life is under his governance. And if we plan to do something, we lay it before the Lord, and we let the peace of Christ rule in our hearts, because it's in here that the Holy Spirit reigns and rules. And even if our mind says, but there's not a problem with that, I can do that, it's not a problem with that, there's nothing wrong with it. If in our spirit, the Holy Spirit says to us, no, we feel no. We've all had times, haven't we, when everything we think and everything anyone else says to us says, this is wrong, this is right. We've talked about it to everybody, and they all say, no, it's fine, nothing wrong with that. And yet we still have this disquiet within us, this uncertainty, I'm not sure. We shouldn't do it. We should listen to the Holy Spirit. Let the peace of Christ rule in your heart. And that word rule is umpire. Bernard, you know about umpiring. The umpire is the decider. Whether he's right or wrong, the umpire says LBW or whatever. Sticks his finger in. I've watched cricket. I don't understand it much. But he holds his finger in the air and he says, out. And we don't argue with the umpire. Don't argue with the umpire of your life. Listen to him. He's got the wisdom of God. And nothing is more important. Nothing is so important to us that we shouldn't forego it if it means helping someone else to find God or to stay in touch with God. Let's not put stumbling blocks in front of each other. That's my thought for the day. Read the next chapter, if you will, chapter 9, and we'll have a look at it tomorrow together. God bless. Have a great day. Bye.